thanks for the ladies of this afternoon. They have started with, I'll start with Shika. Anita, thanks so much for setting up the floor for machine learning. It's definitely one of the big things that happened today. And last but not least, the HR of this room, I don't know whether she's available. No, she isn't. So Anu spoke about emotions. I'm so happy. Thanks for setting up the floor. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the chair of ConSpic and the scientific committee. My name is SP Kumar. I'm a senior statistical programmer at Novartis, and it's been 3 months I was associated with the company. Mind you, SP in my name is not statistical programming. That is Srinivas Pranit. So today I'll be talking more about understanding your customers with social sentiment analysis. So okay, we have spoke a lot about drug discovery. We have spoke a lot about statisticians using different statistical techniques, and then we spoke about HR. So I thought I should bring out the perspective of business rather than anything else. So end of the day, you wanted to listen to your customers more. With that, I'll start today's presentation. All these views in the presentation are my personal, and Novartis has nothing to do with these views. And here's the agenda for the today. I'll introduce you what is sentiment analysis. It's important for any analysis to have the data. So I'll talk about where do you get this data from, and why do I know, what's the need to do this sentiment analysis first of all, and how do I do it? As well, I'll present a very small example, and I'll give my approach of what's the algorithm I've used to do this analysis. Like any other analysis, you have pros and cons. I'll talk about what's great about social sentiment analysis and what's not so great about it. Yeah, I'll give you a few tools and technology that, as on today, which can be used to do this analysis. I have few references and credits, and I'll open the floor for question and answers. Okay, more of this. There's no superhero code in my presentation. Definitely no rocket science, and it's neither unachievable. So you can do it on your own, like any other thing. So I'll start with my introduction to social sentiment analysis. Okay, I'll take an example. Rather than reading through the slide, I think it's better, or it makes you understand it very easily. Say, for example, if I have given the speech today and I walk out of the room, it's important for me to take the feedback. And I always feel happy if people come to me and say, your presentation is good. I don't mean that you have to say it, but definitely not. If you like it, you definitely rate it positive. If you don't like it, you rate it negative. And for those who don't understand the topic, they stay neutral. It's better not to jump either sides. Sentiment analysis is the same. So it is understanding whether your product or your service is doing a great job, or is it worst, or your customers are not standing on either sides. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Okay, I choose social medium, and I found the data from social medium is easy, and that's why I called it social sentiment analysis. This would not be only from social data. It could be from different forums. For example, any survey that you have done. Say, for example, I own a product or a service. I wanted to do a survey to see how good it is. So all your surveys can be used for this, or a patient forum, or you have social media where you have huge availability of data, and then you have online feedback portals, which helps to do this analysis. So that takes to the question, where do I get the data and why should I do it? Okay. I would like to introduce you to the social media landscape as on 2016. Out in room, I'm sure many of us have Facebook accounts. Few of us have LinkedIn accounts. And all of us, or half of us, have Twitter accounts. So, the main characteristic of social media, if I have to say, is the audience fragmentation. I'll tell what audience fragmentation is. For example, if you have released a service or a product into the market, it's more than your customers who speak about your product. You cannot tell your customers, hey, you know what, you purchased the product. Please post positive, or I'm gonna sell it next time for $1,000 instead of 100. You cannot do that. So it's audience who take control of your product going forward. It's not your own anymore. You see the social media landscape over here. Thanks, Fred Cavazza, for this amazing image. It says people use social media for different purposes, and they mention some important 6 ways they use it. People publish, they share information, like I have recently shared the ConSpic presentation of one of my friends. They keep messaging to each other, they discuss online forums to get the answers for the questions they had, they collaborate with each other, and then they network with each other. Networking is nothing but your LinkedIn. So you have so much social data available online, but I'm very bothered why this was not used. Okay, by the way, other industries use it vast. I just want to introduce this to the clinical industry and see if it can potentially bring some solutions to it. Why do I need to do it? Wow. You have so many emoticons, but they look like robots. So you always want to see whether your product or service is performing good or great, or your customer is happy about your product or he is not so happy and he was like, duh, your product is not working at all. Please change it. I'm not so happy with the service. So your customer express his opinion upfront in social media rather than choosing to tell it to you on your face. So that's why social media has huge data that you can make utilize of, and you can come ahead with very interesting inferences. And now it takes me to the question on how do I do that? Like in any other analysis, I'll start it with collecting data, and like I said, I use various networks online and I collect the data. So it could start from extracting your tweets, using any patient online forums, or anything else. So I'll talk about Twitter API going forward, because Twitter API has a lot to do with this analysis, and I have a reason why I choose Twitter API rather than any other online available tool. Now I collected the data, so I need to analyze the data. Analyze. The analyze word is huge, but you don't need to do everything by yourself. R has some amazing packages to do it. I'll also talk about tokenization here, a little later. So tokenization is nothing but breaking your sentence into equal words. That's how you will be able to understand where the polarity lies. Index the data. Now, indexing is nothing but, advocating someone or, telling someone, what, this is what you need to do. That's why I said thanks to Anita. Thanks for telling people about NLP, naive and support vector machines, because that makes it easy. These are few successful ways, to index your data and come up with a very good thing. Lexicon here is a jargon. Lexicon is not great. Lexicon is nothing but your dictionaries. You hold your dictionary, the same thing available online is lexicon, okay? And then I deliver it like any other analysis. I will be colorful, I'll make it colorful if it have some beautiful plots and figures, and then you have a reporting and analysis, and that's how my manager sees my work. So I prepare dashboards. Okay, coming to the case study which I wanted to present, like this is a very, very small example. I wanted to keep it very crisp, and that's why I said there is no superhero code over here. I'm not gonna mention any code here. What's the process algorithm I have used to, try understand it? So for me also it's a first time. So I just wanted to have a look at how it really helps. So what I've done was I have extracted 2000 tweets using Twitter API that contains hash NHS tag. NHS is National Health Services. I'm sure you guys know it. I've used Twitter API to do that, and I'll show you how I did that. And then I've pre-processed the tweets. When I say pre-processed, a big word. Oh, pre-processed, what is that you're gonna pre-process? Yeah, I've removed all unwanted text, phrases, and emoticons, that's it. And you have, R packages to do it. You don't need to write a machine code to do it. I've extracted features by tokenization. Like I said, tokenization is nothing but breaking your entire sentence into equal words to understand the polarity. I use lexicons, again, the jargon lexicon. It's nothing but a dictionary. And I use this to understand the polarity. Now, when I say polarity, I wanted to understand whether my customer or patient, in this case, is happy, sad, or is neutral. So I call it positive, negative, and neutral. I then applied support vector machine, NLP, to calculate the sentiment score. Mind you, I am not an expert of support vector machine, neither NLP. These are two packages available in R. With a little extensive research, you will be able to understand how do you apply it. So I'm not an expert. I neither am a statistician. I'm an MBA, please. And then I generated histograms, plots, and word clouds to understand, how good we can interpret it and present it to the business. Okay, on the left-hand side, is the NHS England page. NHS England is National Services. That is their Twitter handle. And people usually use this forum to post their questions, to get the replies, and that's what they do. Okay, well, you have many social available data. I have shown you a landscape where you have so many social networks online. Why only Twitter? No particular reason, yeah. It's easy for you to understand, you have something already in place and you can easily play around with it. So I have used Twitter because the length of tweet is 140 characters. That's one of the biggest advantage for me. Say for suppose I'm a customer of Vodafone and I wanted to post about their service caller tune. I go ahead and write 50 lines. Vodafone would take some years to understand what is this guy's polarity. Is he negative, positive, or neutral? All that I'm bothered about is that 30 rupees which got deducted from my account. So obviously, Twitter don't have such thing. So you have a limited text that you can post, so which is 140 characters. So that's why for this case study, I've used Twitter, but you can go ahead and use any other social networks. The data availability is huge again. The language used, I can mention the language used, when I go through the code, you will be able to understand. And pre-processing takes very little time, and there are online available resources where I can pre-process the data. Okay, now I have Twitter in place. Exceptions, the biggest part. So exceptions I have handled particularly with this is I have removed all the usernames, repeat characters, URLs, emoticons, punctuations, retweets, comments, everything. So now after these exceptions, I have single line which has whether he is happy or not. I'm not bothered about 50 lines. All I'm bothered about is he happy or not. If not happy, what is he not happy about? So please no 50 lines, kind of. So I'll talk about Twitter app. Anyone in this room who have a Twitter account can actually go ahead and do this. And I'm happy to share the code with you, which you can use to reproduce results. And it will be interesting, I promise you. This is how Twitter app looks like. You have a website down there that says apps.twitter.com/app. It opens you to this page. My photo over there is not visible. Thanks for that. So this is how the app looks like. So you enter different details in the app, and then it takes you to the screen like this. You should have Twitter account to do this. So please create a Twitter account to do this in case if you are interested. So it takes us to the page where you will see some security things. I'm not sure if it is visible or not on the on the top you see application settings where you will see customer key and consumer secret. I am happy to share this presentation with you after this. And so these are the things which I use to go ahead and write a code in R. Okay, I have this. Why write a code in R for this? Ever wondered when you are doing a programming and you have to extract social data, there is a login that is required in your Twitter. So say for example, you have logged out, that means you cannot do anything. I use this app and those keys to construct a bridge between RStudio and Twitter. So that I don't need to authenticate R every time. Every time I run that code, R authenticates itself. R have a beautiful feature where it can authenticate itself to my Twitter. Any Twitter for that matter. So when I share the code with you, in case if you're interested, you can remove all this, log in into your app, get these details out, put it in RStudio, and you can do it. Okay, now this is the very small snippet. Like I said, I don't use, I don't have a superhero code. So a 4-line code that helps me extract tweets. You see tweets there where it says search Twitter with #NHS. I have prescribed 2000 tweets. If you're n equal to max, that derives all the tweets that were available. And I have used language equal to en because language will be English. This is how the data set looks like. And you have many packages in R which actually helps you extract all these tweets. Okay, by the way, this is the default structure, and the moment you run this code, you'll get it like this, the data set. This is one of the plots I've plotted. I've plotted between positive, negative, and neutral, and I've plotted number of tweets on y-axis, and on x-axis I've plotted the polarity. I'm not somehow happy with this because I know my customers are positive, but what is they positive about? I mean, what do you mean by positive? Are they joy? What are they? And then I plotted another. Okay, I can use 10 more plots, but because of time constraint, I haven't. So this is the other plot, which says most of my patients of NHS are joyful. Let's see what are they joyful about. This is the word cloud I have seen. If you see, there are clusters for joy, anger, unknown, sadness, fear, surprise, disgust, many words. Okay, I have restricted these words to 100. That's why you're able to see like this. And it's again a package in R. Like I have not done anything extensive. It's available code in R that helps you generate this word cloud. What is great about word cloud? You know, you'll be able to identify those words, what made your customer or a patient feel angry, feel joy. You want to see what is that word. Like I wanted to know what is that thing that, you know, made my presentation go duh, similarly. Okay, what are my observations from this? Okay, great, you have done so much. What's in for me as a business? I found 70% of patients who have spoke about NHS online spoke positive. Okay, what's that positive thing? They said the staff are very compassionate when they have treated them, so the credit goes to staff. And then they also use Twitter to tell the mistakes that they have done over time during this period. And some patient even used Twitter to tell that food quality was not good. Okay, inference of food quality, for example. This is something in your hands and you can change it. And you can get good experience to your customer, isn't it? I'm a great fan of Dilbert. You know, Dilbert says, I mean, from the cartoon my inference from the cartoon is, you cannot spend 1 year doing analysis, which is hypothesis, and you end up landing up on a plane where, you know, the result is 0. So like any other study or analysis, there are pros and cons for this one as well. And availability of huge data is one of the biggest pros. And then, you know, the noisy and fuzzy data is the biggest con. These are few tools and technologies that are available today in market that can do. Few of them are free sources, few of them are paid sources, and all of these can do social sentiment analysis. These are few references and credits which I wanted to cite. And before I close, I'd like to talk about a beautiful team over here, Mr. Robert and team. From the left, you will see Mohammed, Robert, Cisse, and Ochechi. I'll mention why I'm talking about them. You know, they belong to Combo South District of the Gambia. And, you know, the population of that place in South Africa is over 9 lakhs. Many of them don't go to clinics. It's always, their own decisions they make to solve any problem. What's great about this team? They have used, second one from the last is Robert, and Robert had a chance to go to MIT. Robert had a chance to go to any other university in the world and make something extraordinary. He can be one of the billionaire or millionaire rising up. But Robert didn't choose to do it. Why? Robert found around 2013, Ebola attacked Africa. And it takes 10 days for people to get their blood samples. 10 days is a cost of a life. And you have many people losing their lives. Robert used his motor vehicle. He traveled around, collected the blood samples. With his knowledge on bioinformatics, he started teaching people how to use or how to do blood tests. And that's how he reduced the time from 10 days to 6 hours. Huge. He saved 4,000 lives. This is the gentleman I get inspired about every day. and I'm happy that I get inspired from him. With this, I'd like to end my topic, and I'll be open for question and answers. Any? Thank you.
Good to see another MBA in a crowd of biostatisticians.
Thank you so much, sir.
I think you did a great job in bringing sentiment analysis, which is a very consumer product-oriented topic, into this. There are at least $500 million startups in this space. One question for you.
Sure.
In the use cases you talked about hospital administrations.
True.
NHS, which are like government bodies, looking at it. It'll be, do you have some use cases in terms of a particular molecule or a particular medicine or a particular study or a particular pharma's work? Because that may be very helpful. I think it's a very hard problem to crack, but I'm just asking about it.
I think that makes a very good question. I'll definitely explore it. So we'll exchange cards and we'll definitely see how it works. Because I wanted to do it on RideApt initially, but because of time constraint, I haven't able to. But definitely, I'm going to do it. Thanks for that. Yeah. Any other questions? Thank you.
No, the extension of what that question. Social data is more like not controlled data. So, what are the applications you think, like you have been looking around? So, what are the applications which can be made within the clinical programming environment using this kind of model?
Interesting. So I also thought about this. I mean, like, what is the good use of this sentiment analysis in clinical? Say, for example, I have adverse events. I mean, this is a random example. I don't have good knowledge on clinical though, but then talking about adverse events. Say, for example, there are adverse events that your patient do not talk to the doctor about, but he posts it online. It's a random example, like I said. You can make use of social data to see what are those adverse events which are not reported. Or maybe I'll take another example. Say companies A and B have two drugs and both of them are of same formula, but B is used more, why not A? It might be because of the availability of drug in the market, or because of the price, or because of any other feature. It's important for us to detect that, because it's not just what would I say, it's more about making sure that your drug goes into the market, and that's what you do. So when you discover a drug, you want your patients to use it and enjoy the outcome of it. So I think social data is one of the ways I can do it, not the only way, by the way.
So if I can add to that, since you asked a question, so in clinical trials we have a stream called pharmacovigilance. One of the things that pharmacovigilance needs to do is to be able to go search the literature and pick up all the cases. So these are not clinical trials, but these are actual cases of adverse events that people have had. The doctors sometimes put up as case studies. Then they have to create Argus case records out of that and put it into the database. Yeah? And they are required to do this by the regulatory authorities. And I know there are a lot of recent examples where people are starting to use these kinds of crawlers to essentially not just go look at published literature, but also chatbots like Patients Like Me and all of those kinds of chatbots where people could essentially be talking about this and look for these kinds of techniques to identify those adverse events, so that they can add it to the evolving literature of the safety profile of drugs. So stuff like this is quite germane in the kind of work that we do with clinical trials.
Because what I was thinking was when we submit it to the FDA, we need to have the source, like the validated source. The social media is like anyone can post.
Correct. But submission to the FDA is only one part of what we do.
Okay.
And then we have to keep on looking at it constantly. We have a obligation to continuously keep growing the body of evidence about not just the efficacy, but also more importantly the adverse events of the drug. And most companies keep on doing this. So pharmacovigilance keeps doing that for years and years.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Can this be more applied once the drug is released? Like we can get more information. It's more dependent, like in the phase 4 or something like that.
More likely than not, right? Because in a controlled phase 2, phase 3 setting, the number of patients are limited. So how much chatter are you going to pick up? And because they are being followed so often, most of the time they go tell their doctor that they have an adverse event. They don't need to, resort to a chat forum to tell somebody that they have an adverse event, right?
It's also pretty unlikely, for example, in a serious medicine like oncology, a cancer patient would be tweeting about he or she being happier. It's a very, maybe a headache medicine or something more beauty related, maybe more suitable for I don't know.
Yeah, but so in a control setting, there are not going to be so many, they're not first of all so many patients, and most of the time they are followed up so regularly that you don't need them to, resort to social media. But once the drug is out there, that's when people start doing it. And as pharma companies, we have an obligation to continuously look at the data.
And sentiment analysis comes under the exploratory arena and not the efficacy arena. So submission actually is not associated with these analysis.
Like, thanks Mahesh for the keywords, and Anita and the gentleman as well. I think I accept your question, and there are so many keywords I go ahead and go home and work about, but yeah, it was a pretty good question and discussion. Thank you. Any more questions? Because it's just me in between you and the tea break. You know what? I don't want to.
There was one question here.
Yeah, please.
No, I was just an observation though. From a sentiment analysis, you can look at NPS, Net Promoter Score system. That's what is used now to really ascertain customer setting. Who are my promoters? Who are my detractors?
True. So I think it, coming back to NPS, which you were talking about, it is variedly used in automobile industry, if I have to, across. So this is one of the best practices across industries, where you'll understand your customer closely, and that's how you promote. I can say Tesla to do a customer analysis, or SpaceX to do a customer analysis in India, where the cars don't run. So they look at the crowd where they can actually concentrate as a business, and where they can implement better ideas for a globalization, I should say. Thanks for the point, sir. Any other questions? I'm open for questions. I just have 1 more minute. Like I said, it's just me, that door between you and the coffee break. Can I take it as a no? Thank you so much for bearing with me, and thanks so much for being such a good audience. Thanks for having me here.